Core i5. The first Core i5-27 using the Nehalem microarchitecture was introduced on September 8, 2009 as a mainstream variant of the earlier Core i7-28, the Linfield Core. Linfield Core i5 processors have an 8 MB L3 cache, ADME bus running at 2.5 GT/s and support for dual-channel DDR3 800 1066/1333 memory and have hyperthreading disabled. The same processors with different sets of features, hyperthreading and other clock frequencies enabled are sold as Core i7-8XX and Xeon 3400 series processors, which should not be confused with high-end Core i7-9XX and Xeon 3500 series processors based on Bloomfield. The Core i5-5XX mobile processors are named Arandale and based on the 32nm Westmer shrink of the Nehalem microarchitecture. Arandale processors have integrated graphics capability but only 2 processor cores. They were released in January 2010, together with Core i7-6XX and Core i3-3XX processors based on the same chip. The L3 cache in Core i5-5XX processors is reduced to 3 MB, while the Core i5-6XXW, Core i7 Intel Core i7 is an Intel brand name for several families of desktop and laptop 64-bit x86-64 processors using the Nehalem, Westmer, and Sandy Bridge microarchitectures. The Core i7 brand is targeted at the business and high-end consumer markets for both desktop and laptop computers, 33, and is distinguished from the Core i3 entry-level consumer, Core i5 mainstream consumer, and Xeon server and workstation brands. The Core i7 name was introduced with the Bloomfield quad-core processor in late 2008. 34, 35, 36, 37. In 2009, new Core i7 models based on the Linfield desktop quad-core processor and the Clarksfield quad-core mobile were added, 38, and models based on the Arandale dual-core mobile processor were added in January 2010. The first 6-core processor in the Core lineup is the Gulftown, which was launched on March 16, 2010. Both the regular Core i7 and the Extreme Edition are advertised as 5 stars in the Intel processor rating. In January 2011, Intel released the second generation of Core Sandy Bridge microarchitecture based main article, Sandy Bridge. In early 2011, a new microarchitecture named Sandy Bridge microarchitecture was introduced by Intel, which keeps all the existing brands from Nehalem including Core i3/i5/i7, but introduces new model numbers. The initial set of Sandy Bridge processors includes dual and quad-core variants, all of which use a single 32nm die for both the CPU and integrated POO cores, unlike the earlier microarchitectures. All Core i3/i5/i7 processors with the Sandy Bridge microarchitecture have a 4-digit model number starting with 2. With the mobile version, the thermal design power can no longer be determined from a 1 or 2-letter suffix but is encoded into the CPU number. Starting with Sandy Bridge, Intel no longer distinguishes the code names of the processor based on number of cores, socket or intended usage. They all use the same code name as the microarchitecture itself. Core i3 released on January 20, 2011, the Core i3-2XXX line of desktop and mobile processors is a direct replacement of the 2010 Clarkdale Core i3-5XX and Arandale Core i3-3XX models, based on the new microarchitecture. While they require new sockets and chipsets, the user-visible features of the Core i3 are largely unchanged, including the lack of support for a turbo boost and ASNI. Unlike the Sandy Bridge-based Celeron and Pentium processors, the Core i3 line does support the new advanced vector extensions, Core i5. In January 2011, Intel released new quad-core Core i5 processors based on the Sandy Bridge microarchitecture. It's 2011. New dual-core mobile processors and desktop processors arrived in February 2011. The Core i5-2XXX line of desktop processors are mostly quad-core chips, with the exception of the dual-core Core i5-2390T and include integrated graphics, combining the key features of the earlier Core i5-6XX and Core i5-7XX lines. The suffix after the 4-digit model number designates unlock multiplier K, low power S, and ultra low power T. The desktop FAS now all have 4 non-Summit cores, like the i5-750, with the exception of the i5-2390T. The Mi bus is running at 5 GT/S. The mobile Core i5-2XXXM processors are all dual-core chips like the previous Core i5-5XXM series and share most of the features with that product line. Core i7 The Core i7 brand remains the high-end for Intel's desktop and mobile processors, featuring the Sandy Bridge models with the largest amount of L3 cache and the highest clock frequency. Most of these models are very similar to their smaller Core i5 siblings. The quad-core mobile Core i7-2XXXQM/XM processors follow the previous Clarksfield Core i7-XXXQM/XM processors, but now also include integrated graphics.